This is the NETGEAR Orbi 970 series quad-band Wi-Fi 7 mesh network system. My first reaction picking up each unit was, wow, these are huge. The design is clean and modern, but they're tall and hefty, closer to a small game console than a typical router. They run warm during use, which I'll get to later, but the look is premium and the LED status bar stays off most of the time, which I appreciate. Key features that matter to me are pretty simple. Wi-Fi 7 support with multi-link operation, a quad-band setup with a dedicated backhaul, and serious multi-gigabit Ethernet on the back. If you're new to Wi-Fi 7, here's the fast version. It's the next standard after Wi-Fi 6E. It can use wider channels up to 320 MHz, pack more data into each signal, 4K QM, and it can link a device to more than one band at once, that's MLO, to push more data and lower delays. Think of the backhaul like a private road between the router and satellites, so your devices don't compete with that traffic. On this system, that backhaul is beefy and it shows. Setup through the Orbi app was quick for me. The satellites were pre-paired and came online without fuss. From my experience, the first hour with this system was a blast. On my Wi-Fi 7 laptop, I saw wireless speeds well over 2 Gbps standing near the router, and I could max out a 1 Gbps internet plan even from a satellite in another room. Latency felt snappy for work calls and cloud gaming. Streaming multiple 4K videos while backing up to my NAS over 2.5G didn't slow anything down. The backhaul between nodes felt solid. I didn't see the usual, your device dropped to the slower band weirdness I've had on older mesh kits. Design and ports are a big part of why I tried this. The router gives you one 10G internet port, another 10G LAN, and 4 2.5G LANs. Each satellite has one 10G and two 2.5G ports. If you're into multi-gig networking at home, this is the good stuff. I wired a 10G backhaul between the router and a satellite and still had 10G free at that satellite for a workstation. That said, in my opinion, there are two caveats. 1, there are no USB ports, so no quick plug-in drive or printer sharing. 2, even with a wired backhaul, the system still holds one 5 GHz radio aside for backhaul duties. I couldn't repurpose that radio for client devices. It's an Orbi design choice, but it feels rigid for power users. Now the part that took me from excited to cautious. After a few weeks, I started seeing random drops on a couple of devices, especially an iPhone. The phone would hang, then reconnect if I toggled Wi-Fi. I also saw occasional purple lights on a satellite, meaning it lost contact and needed a reboot. The base unit was noticeably hot to the touch. I didn't expect to be thinking about cooling on a home mesh kit, but here we are. I put a small USB fan next to it as a test, and the random reboots stopped. That was my hint that heat was part of the problem. Later, a firmware update improved stability, and an RMA unit I received has been clean for weeks. From my experience, there's a mix here. Firmware maturity matters a lot, and there may be some unit-to-unit variance. The app experience is where this system feels split between casual and enthusiast. It's easy to set up, easy to see what's online, and basic tasks are fine. But I couldn't split the 2.45 and 6 GHz bands into separate network names. Band steering is forced on the main SSID. I know why companies do this, to simplify things, but I like being able to pin older smart devices to 2.4 or to keep certain devices on 5 or 6 GHz. The workaround is using the IoT or guest network and setting that to a specific band, which is clunky. The UI looks dated for a flagship product. Also, advanced parental controls and the Armor security suite move into subscription territory after the trial. I don't mind paying for security if it's excellent, but when you've already invested at this price, it can sting. Coverage claims are big, up to 10,000 square feet. I'll be direct. It blankets a large home, but the blazing multi-gig speeds really live around each node. When I got farther away, think across the house through a couple of walls, throughput dropped hard compared to those close-range numbers. That's normal physics with high frequencies, but it's worth planning your placements tighter than the marketing might suggest. It's perfect for homes that can place the router and satellites more centrally, with reasonably clear lines of sight. If you're pushing to far corners, add more nodes, or expect less headline speed. On heat and reliability, here's how I'd frame it. This system packs serious radios and a lot of processing into a fanless design. It's quiet and clean looking, but it runs warm. In my opinion, placement matters. Give it space to breathe, avoid stuffing it in cabinets, and keep it upright. If you see reboots or purple lights, update firmware before anything else. If the unit feels very hot and you're still seeing instability, a small desk fan is a decent diagnostic step. If that helps, ask support for a replacement. My replacement has been steady, which makes me think quality control and firmware timing both played a role. Let me explain a couple of the buzzwords in plain terms. Multi-link operation means a Wi-Fi 7 device can talk to the router over more than one band at the same time, like using two highways instead of one. That can boost speed and cut stutters. The dedicated backhaul is the private link between the router and satellites, so your phone or laptop traffic doesn't clog that lane. 320 MHz channels are just extra wide lanes that carry more data when conditions allow. If you're surrounded by neighbors on similar channels, the system can punch a hole around the noisy part and still use the rest. That's called puncturing, and it helps keep throughput up. I'd recommend this for someone who wants the fastest consumer mesh I've tested up close, has a multi-gig plan or heavy local networking, and is okay living on the front edge of new tech. It's fantastic for power users who want 10G and 2.5G ports in multiple rooms, creators moving large files to a NAS, or anyone with a lot of modern devices who values low latency for work calls and streaming. From my experience, it becomes a tougher sell if you need rock-solid stability out of the box and don't want to think about firmware updates, placement, or troubleshooting. Also, if you must split SSIDs by band, the software will frustrate you. In my opinion, the Orbi 970 nails the hardware brief. The radios are fast, the backhaul is strong, and the port layout is excellent. The trade-offs are size, heat, limited advanced controls, and the possibility that you'll need a firmware update or even a replacement unit to get the best experience. If you're okay with that, the payoff is huge close-range speed and a clean multi-gig wired backbone across your home. In conclusion, it's perfect for early adopters and performance hunters who want a Wi-Fi 7 mesh that can flex today and grow into faster services tomorrow. I'd recommend this for users who value raw speed and multi-gig wiring and are comfortable tuning placement and keeping firmware current. If you're more about absolute reliability and simple control over bands and features, I'd look at something a bit more mature or be prepared to spend time dialing this in. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the NETGEAR Orbi 970 series quad-band Wi-Fi 7 mesh network system. Thank you for watching.